Good Friday, everyone. Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog, here with you on the Weekend Big Show, powered by Law Dog Sports and the Law Dog Sports Podcast. Jeremy Schroeder, ruler of the airways, with me as always, and just so much to get to here on the first Friday of June. And it is a wonderful Friday if you are from the Sooner Nation, as you can tell by Jeremy's hat. He is. And so, man, Jeremy, we've got so much to get into and so much to hash out from last night. But first of all, our superfan Connor Carr mentioned he will not be able to partake in the program today because he is in Montana fly fishing. And can you really picture those fat little fingers trying to tie a fly knot? I'm just
those little sausages on the end of his hands just trying to tie a fly knot.
I mean, hey, let me tell you something. I tried to learn how to tie knots for fly fishing at one time, and it's not the easiest that you're ever going to find. And
listen, after his beloved Arkansas Razorbacks athletics season, we may never see him again.
Well, that's very true. And the thing about him is he goes with the tide and not the Crimson Tide.
Roll Tide.
He goes with the flow of the whole Arkansas Razorback hog narrative. And that's good. That's his jam, so to speak. But with everything comes ebbs and flows. And man, what's the bad part of that equation, ebb or flow? I never have
ebb. You don't want to ebb, you want to flow.
Okay. So he's been ebbing for about his whole 30 years of existence,
since the last time the Arkansas Razorbacks won the Men's College World Series in baseball. Oh wait, that's never happened.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't remember that one.
Sorry, Connor, we love you.
Yeah, and hey, we're about to be SEC brethren here on the show.
You know what's funny about that is I actually looked that up. It's like I still find it hard to believe as good as Arkansas has been in baseball, they've never won the College World Series.
Well, so they have a national championship in basketball in '94.
Yes, that was the
it was Nolan
Williamson.
Yeah, that was the did they have a nickname for that team? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
But anyways, they won a natty in that. I haven't paid attention to their softball. Anyways,
Lou Holtz won a natty there, didn't he?
No, he did not.
Okay.
He beat Oklahoma, but that was
that's almost like winning a natty. Yeah, that's real close.
The participation, well, what is it? The morale award or whatever. But no, the University of Arkansas, I don't know what they've track and field. I can imagine they have some track and field athletes.
Golf.
They have a golf daddy?
Oh, John Daly. He's won a major. That's almost like a national championship.
Sure. You do get that is a
PGA and a British.
As we found out from Kyle Umlang on Twitter, Texas's mega stat guy, that alums that go on to win majors count, as banners in your new arena.
Put it on the wall.
Yeah. Hey, real quick from last week, and this has been a heck of a week for me. Just I haven't played golf since last Friday. It's been a little traumatic, I got to say. I missed my Monday Roman nose date, but with everything going on, I was really just kind of building up an anticipation for Wednesday night and last night, and we'll get into the softball here in just a minute. But man, the Celtics just blasted the Mavericks in Game 1 at Boston. Is it still Boston Garden or is it TD
Ameritrade?
Okay, yeah, it's Boston Garden, and
the Garden.
Have
a Habitat.
And so, anyways, but we'll get into that and kind of break that down in a little bit. I'll say this: Game 1 of any series does not tell the whole story unless you go out and throw another bomb in Game 2, and then you're in the hole.
Yeah, I guess we're getting into it right now. We're getting into the game last night.
I really don't want to.
Okay, good.
But let's just say this: when we get into it, I'm not going to jump on any any particular bandwagon just yet. It's game one, and as we saw,
Gotcha.
Thunder, the Mavericks can be blown out in game one and come back and win a series. So we'll
This
just
is true.
leave it at that until we dive deep into that series, which we dive so
Delve.
but we are streaming on Facebook. We're always Friday mornings at 9 a.m. on Facebook Live on our Facebook page. Also, you can find all of our podcast episodes on our other Facebook page, which I hate having another Facebook page, but Facebook won't let me combine the two pages. And I suspect a former potato-headed co-host that like talking guns for that fault. But anyways, so anyway, but we do have another page. It's called the Law Dog Sports Podcast, and that's where you can find all the episodes. We are actually on Amazon Music. We're on Spotify. I think we're on Podbeans. And then also our SoundCloud page will give you every episode as well. So be sure, and if you miss one, go and check it out. Also, during the week, I do a segment called Western Oklahoma Sports Night, and that's where I interview local sports athletics standouts from Western Oklahoma. This week we visited with Creek Williams, a rodeo standout who, Jeremy, as a junior in high school, this young man was the president of the National High School Rodeo Association. They have a governing body that consists of their actual participants, and he was the president of that. We're going to be hearing about, if you pay any attention to rodeo at all, you're going to be hearing about Creek Williams, and I had a great visit with him earlier in the week. But let's get into it real quick, Jeremy, and this will kind of suffice for what we love to talk about.
The 1-2 pitch, bounce to third, backhanded by Brito, throws. History in Oklahoma City. The Sooners go where no program has ever gone before. Rewrite the record books. That's 4 in a row. They are unquestioned and
I guess that's why Plank took day before yesterday off to go ahead and start writing that.
Yeah, Chris Plank on the call there on Learfield and Sooner Sports Radio. And so another great call by Plank, as actually this one is this is the trophy presentation, which if you can picture in your mind, Jeremy, and I love to do this, that just imagine Mike White sitting off to the side listening to this.
And finally, will the entire Oklahoma Sooner team please come forward to receive the NCAA National Championship Trophy.
there goes the confetti.
And once again, congratulations to the Oklahoma Sooners, your 2024 NCAA Division I Softball National Champion.
Man, for a second there, I thought Chris Del Conte had got the mic because he kind of said, "See,
Yeah.
But congratulations to Patty Gasso and the OU Sooners softball team for their 4th national championship, Women's College World Series title in a row, and 8th overall. And I was looking at some records, Jeremy. First national title in 2000, and that kind of led the way maybe later that season for a football natty. Winning definitely started coming around. Yeah, because their 2000 title would have been in the spring, and then in the fall, the lone Bob Stoops national championship run began.
Can you believe that there were 13 years between national titles? I mean,
yeah.
After the run she's been on since what, 2013?
Exactly, and you
7 and 13 years.
I don't remember a lot from talk shows or I guess there were still message boards back then. There wasn't social media, but I mean, from 2000 to 2008, was she on the hot seat? On KR, KNOR or
I don't believe
like
so. In 01, she got that big extension that allowed her to stay in Norman.
Yeah.
I was reading her. I was reading her Wikipedia page this morning. So
yeah,
look at me preparing.
Hey,
yeah, she wasn't making much money until that 2000 natty, and her husband moved back to California, and she was seriously considering Leaving.
Joe Castiglione, baby.
Joe C.
Decision maker.
Locked her up.
He rarely makes a bad call. Do you, in your research, did you catch the name of the coach before Patty Gasso of the Sooners program?
I don't believe there was one. 1995 was her first year, and they won the Big Eight. And I don't recall, because I do remember that we'd be over there playing softball, drunken softball and beer leagues, and over in the same fields that the drunk guys are playing on, the University of Oklahoma softball team is also playing off in the corner. Crazy.
Far cry from Devon or Love's Field now, isn't it?
It is a super far cry, yes.
Well, I did a little research myself, and Jim Batia, 1994, one season, went 58-15. Before that, Michelle Thomas was 84-93, and she amassed a 226 and 230 win-loss record. And before that, the reason they named the stadium prior to Love's Field,
Rita Hines,
77-84, 257-18. That's a heck of a winning record.
It's not too bad.
That's pretty dang good. Just, I remember in the 90s when you would see just blips, or, you'd be scanning channels with remember your cable box that had the little buttons, on it that you'd, had like 20
with
buttons
zipper
and a little lever. You had 3 levels, and you click it. Well, you'd be scanning channels and you would find, college softball. It seems like Arizona and UCLA used to just be the ones, and nobody else. Now it's definitely shifted to what's going into the SEC, but also OSU made a World Series appearance too, actually. But the thing about it is this game has been so dominated over just go back 10 years, much less Patty's national championship in 2000, but just over the 10 years, 8 national titles, 7 of them within the last 10 years.
Yeah. I know. Well, 13. Well, okay. 11 years. Yeah, since 2013.
Yeah.
So, that's 70% of the Natties have been stayed in the state, because the unfair home field advantage that didn't exist until 2021. Right.
Yeah, and we'll get into that. Here's the thing. And Kenny Mossman, who was a longtime part of the program, athletic program down in Norman, he's now pastoring in Carnegie, Oklahoma. He's a Baptist pastor there, and we follow him on social media. And he put, he put a tweet out today, said, I don't remember everybody clamoring about home field advantage when OU had to play, when Bob Stoops had to play X amount of national championship games in the other team's home state. Well, I was clamoring. I clamored.
I clamored as well, playing Florida State in Miami, playing
LSU.
Louisiana State in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I clamored. The
thing about it is when it worked, because I would imagine Alabama had a significant home field advantage in that Sugar Bowl in 2013.
Exactly. But we're comparing apples to oranges here.
But what I'm getting at is, if you're the dominant team, you're going to be the dominant team. Yes, does it make a little difference that there's probably a little extra crowd noise for when, a Sooner pitcher is up? It can. But at the end of the day, you have to go out and pitch. You have to go out and perform. And, if the Texas Longhorn football team ever gets to play for a national championship and it's at the Cotton Bowl, you think anybody's going to be complaining, oh, we should probably move this? And
No. Absolutely not. I guess for a time there, they played it in Georgia, maybe just for a short bit of time. And guess what? University of Georgia Tech never won the Women's College World Series. Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska made it there a couple of times. I think they may have won a game in their 2 College World Series appearances. It's just different. No other city has put up the money, the resources, built the stadium to get them here. And guess what? Where are you going to move it that's maybe complementary to what Oklahoma City does? The only other place you can move it is Norman.
Yeah. Well, and think about this, Jeremy. What what other city? And you know, we're talking cities. Oklahoma City would be a mid-major or mid-level city. You know, your bigger cities. What city are you going to have it in where your fan base is going to be predominantly safe?
Sure.
Yeah, you're gonna
Exactly.
put
I
that in
mean,
Frisco. I mean,
yeah, I mean, the area around the Softball Hall of Fame wouldn't exactly be the nicest part of Oklahoma City, and I still don't feel like my life's in danger when I'm
oh, I
over
can,
there.
yeah. And geographically, it is the most beautiful part of the city.
Sure.
It's,
Lincoln Park Golf Course is over there. Oh,
sure,
lovely.
sure. But the thing about it is you can stay at any of the number of major chain hotels in Oklahoma City and not, yeah, if you go down to Reno and Eastern and stay there near the truck stop, you could be in some danger. But if you stay at a Fairfield Inn in Oklahoma City, nine nights out of 10, you're not going to have an issue. You can't say that for Austin. You can't say that for Dallas or Fort Worth. Yeah, you can go down there and stay, and you can find the right places.
Oh boy.
What?
Yeah, down there around the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. No, thank you.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
thank you.
I mean,
I'm good. I went down there once. We went through that neighborhood. Yeah, roll them up and lock them, kids.
yeah, yeah. Excuse me, could you tell me how to get back on the freeway? Roll them up. Vacation. Yeah. But and when you're talking about tourism, and man, I hate to give this guy any credit, but the mayor of Oklahoma City put out a tweet, showing a drone footage of Devon Field from the sky at night, and where else you're going to get 13,000 seat softball venue. I mean, he's kind of pointing it out. I haven't heard Mike White say anything yet today, or haven't seen anything come across. I would imagine Del Conte pulled him aside and say, "Quit your bitching, stop complaining about the neutrality of the venue. This is where it's played." And here's the thing: Texas could very well be in that seat in the next couple of years. They have a lot of young talent, and
Sure they do.
if he gets out of his own way, they could be national champions.
Yeah. And you also, another thing that's not mentioned much. Where else is there a venue like the college softball or the softball Hall of Fame in the United that is centrally located?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
It's just right in the middle.
Wasn't it decided to put that there before OU ever began any sort of consistent run? I mean,
I remember going to the softball Hall of Fame when I was a child.
Yeah,
when I'd had my family from Kansas and they wanted to go see it. I vaguely remember it. I was young. I was maybe pre-10 going to see that. So we're talking, 70s, early 80s.
yeah. Yeah, it's I mean, and therein lies the thing is softball has grown. And if you don't think it's grown, you should have been in Weatherford, America last week with the Road to the Show in town. I mean, 60-some teams all descending on Weatherford, Oklahoma, some as far from the Pacific Northwest. I mean, it's huge. And parents, are willing to travel with their kids' team. They're, all in the hopes that maybe they play someday. I'll tell you this much. There's a young lady that plays for Weatherford that's a high-end recruit. She's already committed to Florida State. And if Florida State comes back, I doubt her parents are going to complain that they're having to play at Devon Field. It's like, oh, hey, we get to go watch our daughter, much
Sure.
but
the Hall of Fame was established in 1957.
There you go.
So just a few years before Oklahoma became dominant.
You know what else some of these little whiny bags need to realize? First dibs. You get first dibs. If you set aside in 1957 that we're going to have the Softball Hall of Fame, who knew anything about collegiate softball back then?
Maybe they should just move the university out of the state.
Sure. That would work better. Really. Let me ask you this. Do you think anybody was chanting SEC after the games last night?
I think I did hear an SEC chant, but I think it was a sincere SEC chant.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're the Big 12 and you just you were going to crown a national champion one way or another,
two schools that leaving the conference are the two that play for it. That's a shame, isn't it?
Oh, that's such a shame. But it, it's let's just say this, Jeremy. It's been an interesting 3.5 years for sports fandom. I'm just gonna say
Oh,
that, you know.
definitely.
I think we were still on the old station when it came out that OU and Texas were going to move.
Yeah,
We,
we were.
I
That
think
was
we were.
announced 2019. Is it 2019?
Was it before the pandemic?
Hmm.
I thought it was after. I thought it was 20.
Maybe it was 21.
I think we were still on the station in Texas back then. So
Yeah, I think so. It was somewhere around there. Man.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations to the Sooners. What was it, 8-4? And just I'll just say this: I was a little worried, Jeremy, going into the series, the way Texas had played in their quarterfinals and semifinal games, and just not giving up a run.
Well, I was more concerned with the way Oklahoma played in that first game against Florida. I mean, it seemed like every hitter they sent to the plate had two strikes as soon as they stepped into the box. There was no aggression.
Yeah.
Their approach was completely off. And then against Texas, they're just out there, just
Oh yeah, just batting practice.
hitting everything. Just count fastball. Yep, we're hitting that. Yep, let's do it. Just early in the count.
And looking at the game itself, the two games, it just clutch hitting is in any sort of, Ella
Parker.
utensil
Yeah,
to
she
ball contact sport. Clutch hitting is just so big, and when you have players that will step up in big moments and deliver, it just means so much more. And to me,
because SEC.
Well, yeah, it does mean more. But just it seemed like, and I was worried going into the series. I thought, if they lose this series to Texas, then it shows that maybe the recruiting tilt has turned a little bit, and that old specter of the evil empire with all the money starts to come to mind, and things like that. Is this going to be, does the Soviet bear finally devour the rest of the earth? But the thing about it is Patty Gasso has a mindset, and it transfers over to her children, her players, and they go into every at bat, they go into every game knowing we're likely going to win this, and
it just kind of seems like Patty is residing in that soft place between Mike White's ears.
I tell you, there are.
I mean, he can't shut up about it.
You can't, and there are humps that players and teams and programs have to overcome. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But it's just it's a situation where they're going to throw more money at it. They're going to throw NIL and
sure.
pick up portal things, just like Oklahoma will. But I mean, at the base of it, you have to find talented players that you can turn into big time gamers. And
sure.
Right now, Patty Gasso has the juice. She's got the formula.
Yeah, Mike White offered Jocelyn Allo when he was at Oregon. I don't know if you saw that story. They only talked about it every single day when they played for the Natty a couple years ago.
I seem to remember
that. So there you go, Mike White.
Yeah. But before Pete goes to Oklahoma, it was a heck of a show, and I love Holly Rowe on the broadcast. I like ESPN's broadcasting of. Go ahead.
I had one. Can I call it one complaint? We'll call it a complaint. Last night, I can't think of the woman's name that was doing play-by-play.
Yeah, she does every play-by-play for.
Well, she said that if was it Hanson that was up with the bases loaded there at the end when it was 8-4? So if she hits a home run here, it's a run rule and the game's over.
Yeah,
no run rule in the
Grand
finals.
Slam.
Yeah, there's no run rule. No, because remember 2 years ago when they stuck Jocelyn Allo out in the outfield for some reason, and it almost came back to bite them because they were up like 10 runs and gave up 4 runs real quick. But yeah, there's no run rule in the finals.
Yeah,
I mean, it'd be really cool if there was.
I remember thinking that, and then I thought, well, even if there was, you just jinxed them. And that's
right.
We are live on Facebook, and I don't see any comments. Well, there's one. Dan Narva checking in. Dan Narva said thinking 20 or 21.
Oh, the announcement to the SEC.
Yeah. Departure
Yeah, it was somewhere in there. I want to say it was right after the COVID season. I want to say that feels right.
Yeah,
because we thought there was a possibility that we'd have Caleb Williams going into the SEC if we could get out by 23, and then that Weasel decided to head out west.
Don Workman checking in says Beth Mowens. That's the name of the.
Okay, yeah, the play-by-play.
Hey, as a play-by-play person, I'll cut her some slack.
Hey, you know what? I watched all the games, and that was the only thing I could come up with. That one complaint. Like, know the rules. Come on, just at the end.
Well, I tell you what, a lot more grace was extended to her than was extended to Doris Burke last night. She took a beating on social media.
Well,
first female announcer to announce a finals of any men's sport, I believe, is what the factoid was.
Doris Burke usually does a good job.
I got no problem with her.
I got no problem with it. I just think maybe,
but here's
maybe the TNT crew should have just been on site have Ernie Johnson or some, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I love EJ or Kevin Harlan is the GOAT.
Yes. Yes.
Mike Breen is GOAT B. I mean,
Mike Breen's very good.
He's so good. So really, with those two, you can't go anywhere but down as far as play-by-play.
Yeah, but I mean, anybody is a step down from those two guys. Like a big, massive fall off a cliff step because they are so good.
Yeah, but one thing about it is as far as color commentary can be so much more subjective on who you think is the greatest. I mean, to me, somebody posted a picture of Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy last night. Said this was the GOAT team. Yeah, they were good, but Van Gundy could wear me out. I mean,
right.
The thing that Van Gundy had is he had been a coach in the NBA. The problem Doris Burke is going to have to overcome is she was play-by-play, and then now she's being asked to be a color analyst along with JJ Redick. I mean, I don't know. To me, I understand where it all leads. I understand what the point of it all is. I got no problem with it. I think Doris Burke has earned her chops. Give her whatever shot she is. Really, I mean, is she somebody that if Mike Breen got a better gig or left ESPN or did something, would she step up and be the main play-by-play? I mean, because
that seems like she's the main play-by-play if she's doing the finals.
Well, she's color, though.
That's true.
Mike Breen's play-by-play. I mean,
it just kind of seems like color guys. I don't ever really think of too much about them. Does that? But the play-by-play guy, if you don't hit that, if that's not right, then it's you've lost the broadcast.
Because really, I'm not a big Reggie Miller fan, but because he's on partners with Kevin Harlan, it makes it bearable. I mean, it's a team concept, and like you said, you dang sure better have the play-by-play guy right. And
I mean, they can't roll Hubie Brown out there or something. I mean, I know he's 116 years old, but
Dr. Jack Ramsey's still alive.
No, he is not.
No, he's not. Oh, goodness. Hey, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to jump into some talk about those NBA Finals and look at the Dallas Mavericks debacle in Game 1. This is the Weekend Big Show powered by Law Dog Sports. Hey everybody, Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog here, and if there are two things you can count on when it's springtime in Oklahoma, that's allergies and severe weather. So there's a good chance you're dealing with damage to your home as we speak, and then also fighting off all the companies going door to door as well. Don't take chances. Call my friend Mark McCaleb at Shamrock Roofing Systems and Construction. I've been friends with Mark for 30 years, and he's trustworthy and will take care of anything you need for your home after the storm. Whether it's residential or commercial, Shamrock Roofing Systems and Construction should be the call you make to repair your home. Just give them a call at 405-763-7663. That's 405-763-ROOF. Or find them online at shamrockroofingsystems.net and find them on Facebook at Shamrock Roofing Systems and Construction. Make today your lucky day and call Shamrock Roofing Systems and Construction.
Time is the one thing that we want more of. Without the donors, I wouldn't have my Audrey. They take care of our housing. They take care of our food. In addition to the best medical treatment that my daughter could ever have. So it allows me to focus on my daughter and getting her better.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Law Dog Sports back here with you. The Weekend Big Show. Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog, ruler of the airwaves, Jeremy Schroeder, here with you on a Friday, June 7th. And we are into summer as the hot temperatures are bearing down on the Great Plains and Southwest, and a lot of heat. And hopefully, Jeremy, I'm praying for a lack of moisture anytime real soon so that I can kind of finally get over all this allergen mess that I've had. We need a dry out because the mold and pollen, I think, has just been, I haven't, I don't keep track with my daily allergen report, but I know there's something in the air that's just jacking me up.
Oh, same here. I finally got my yard mowed yesterday, and I think it had rained 14 consecutive days here. Finally got that done. It took forever, and it was hot. So, yay.
Yeah. Let's see. Dan Narva checking in. You'd think Beth would have known. She's been there forever. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I caught it, and I just thought, no way are they gonna rule a final, a championship final.
No, they don't do that.
But I was surprised to find out that they would in the World Series, because there was one in the World Series.
Men's College World Series?
No, the women's.
There is up until the championship series.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I was surprised to find out that in the in the first round and such.
Got things to do, man.
True.
If you can't keep it between 8 runs and 5 innings, you need to go.
Yeah, you're out. See you, Gajewski. No.
Have they scored yet?
No. And I know it's a bitter taste, but I mean, Kelly Maxwell comes over to Oklahoma and wins a national title. I don't know that they would have been in the running even with her in the rotation at OSU. But I guess Riley Boone took to throwing some shade towards OSU, and she even had the likes of Doug Gottlieb, commenting on Twitter about her outburst, and
Really?
then the little wuss disabled his comments so that he.
Of course he did. I guess he didn't watch the Bedlam football game or, read any of Gajewski's comments.
Yeah. So, but anyways, so last night the Dallas Mavericks from right here along the I-35 corridor in which Jeremy lives. I'm a little further west, but 107-89 final from Boston Garden. The Celtics just really rout the Mavericks, and I'm telling you, it was a big game by Jaylen Brown, but I think the call of the night, or the surprise of the night, was one Kristaps Porzingis with 20 points, 6 rebounds. This guy comes off of the IL, I guess, and so you're laughing, but I'm just going to say it seemed to have played out perfect, and I just want to ask you one question. If Oklahoma City gets in some series where they don't have to face, the other team's superstar for 3 straight series, do you think that they might rest Chet Holmgren more? You got to rest
Chet. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, maybe. They need to get somebody that can actually, rebound.
Yeah,
score outside of their own shadow. Somebody that can play complementary basketball to what Holmgren does, so you don't have to change up too much.
Sure.
But he had an entire season off, Chuck. So,
well, so it was interesting to see that, because everybody's like, oh, they're gonna have to get Kristaps Porzingis back, and they're gonna have to do this, and so I get it. If you've got a guy who's 7'4" and can shoot from outside, yeah, you want him back.
He's made of paper mache and porcelain.
He
played 134 games in Dallas in 3 seasons, and this was the Kristaps Porzingis revenge game.
Yeah,
I would have traded him too. You're not available.
Oh yeah, I had no problem with the trade at the time. My biggest question is like, why are you bringing in Kyrie? Okay, for 3 series, it has panned out pretty well. And I'll say this: last night, not the greatest night of Kyrie Irving's career. 12 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Shot the ball, not great. 31% from the field and
Did
for
not hit a
5
three.
3. That I'll go out on a limb here, Jeremy, and say that won't happen again in this series. Whether it's 4 games or 7, that won't happen again.
Kyrie, and he was also a -19 of the raw plus minus. More turnovers than assists.
Well, everybody was
3 rebounds, right? But he was the worst. Yeah. Well, Dwight Powell was a +7, and Dante Exum,
yeah,
also a +7.
You've got if you're talking about plus minus, you've got 2 players, Lively and Kleber, that played 18 minutes a pop, and both -15. I mean,
that's insane.
So
but hey,
it's game 1.
Yeah,
win on the road. You let I mean, I don't want to say that Dallas is going to pull a rope-a-dope here, but I mean, let Boston get it. I mean, it's a loss is a loss. If it's by 20 or if it's by 1, you're almost better in game 1 to lose by 20 because everybody rests and gets ready for game 2.
Is that the formula though? You limit Kyrie and PJ Washington and let Luka do what he does, and
we'll see.
Win by 19 points, 18 points.
I thought the formula was what I noticed was seeing Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown just driving to the hole unabated. And
and rest isn't an issue. Both these teams have been off for over a week.
The only thing is you can say now, Dallas made pretty short work of Minnesota, but Boston faced Miami without Jimmy Butler, right?
Yeah, they was a gentleman's sleep. Did they swept the Eastern Finals? So both these teams have been off.
It was Cleveland without Donovan Mitchell. Now he played part of that series, if I remember right.
He did, and then once Mitchell got hurt, they decided not to play anybody and just threw the series.
And then Tyrese Halliburton didn't play in the Indiana series.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, Boston definitely has no reason to rest. Last night they showed Luka. He misses a 3 early, and then he's waving for a sub right away. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Hey, he should probably hit the conditioning a little better this offseason.
At least
I'm just saying. Yeah.
I mean, he looks like that drunken softball league you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with the doughy Europeans.
It's the high carb content of our food here in this country.
Well, Gottlieb, speaking of Doug Gottlieb, he was talking about when he was playing over in Europe, when he's playing that. Well, I guess he played in Israel and in Greece. But he said that
he played in Lithuania too, or
I believe so. But he said the culture there is so different. They'll go in at halftime, guys are ripping heaters, eating cake, just having a beer.
It's a party. It is party.
What is this?
It is a party. Yeah, I mean,
you're liking the sauce?
Yeah,
sounds good, huh?
Yeah, I mean, and I get that, and life in Europe is different. Everybody talks Mediterranean diet. I guess Slovenia is somewhere. They're on the Adriatic.
Actually,
whatever.
Is Spain part of the Euro League? I can't even. They probably don't even practice.
Yeah,
just whoever shows up there in the starting lineup.
They didn't have paella and
sure.
But yeah, he needs. Now I don't know. I mean, I heard Barkley stumping for him for 3 rounds, saying he's playing on one leg. I knew I would get an eye roll with that.
He is, yeah, I know. He probably had a little bruise on the inside of his knee from throwing himself to the floor, flopping, and it's limited them severely. I mean, he only had 30 last night and shot over 50% from the floor. Totally limited.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just, like I said, it's game 1. Obviously, the overreaction parade is trending right now on the mothership.
Love hyperbole early in the morning.
Softball highlights on Get Up.
Look at that. Yeah. Hey.
I'll just say this. I mean, obviously a lot of OU fans in attendance and back on the softball World Series. There's a lot of Texas fans in the crowd too. Every time
there were.
every time they panned to the crowd, you could see burnt orange there. I mean,
Oh yeah, you could.
so
People just need to, everyone acts like it's the recency bias of Twitter is just the worst. It's like hummingbirds, no memory. Like,
well,
okay,
and
well,
what's
nothing
sad
ever
is
happened before 2022.
some dipwad from a sports talk show in Houston was on there railing about it. I called him a clown on Twitter. It's like, you're an idiot. But that's the joy of being a Western Oklahoma regional radio star.
That's right. Bronze cassette incoming.
That's right, baby. Hey, we'll probably reach out to Barry Trammell here in the next couple of weeks, as I figured he would have been busy, probably covering a lot of stuff for the Tulsa World. Probably a little soft spot for him will be before SEC Media Days. I would imagine the Tulsa World will send him to cover that. Do we know where that's going to be? Are they just having it in Cozumel, or is it what?
Rio.
I mean, the spring meetings were in a beautiful beach facility, so I don't know.
Isn't it in Florida?
Oh, I'm sure.
I don't know. I almost said Dallas. I'm so indoctrinated into Big 12 for the last.
Did they not have it at the Cotton
30
Bowl
years?
there?
I think so.
Yeah, I thought SEC. I thought Nick Saban came to the Cotton Bowl for a media day.
Yeah, it must have been after they added. Let's see. Yep, it's in Dallas this year, bro.
Okay, well, central location, not
Yeah, Omni Hotel in Dallas, Texas.
Hey, I'm surprised
it's too close to Oklahoma. Oklahoma's going to have a much larger delegation than anybody
Texas
else.
Dominate the league because of neutrality.
I just can't. Oh, Texas A&M. Oh my gosh, they're going to send the Yale leaders.
I got a feeling there will be some dudes in overalls attending. Well, and it'll be a lot of fun. And, here's the thing. Like I said, I've got to probably start throwing some Paul Feinbaum into my repertoire during the week.
I know.
It's the Bible of the SEC. It's just.
I know. Hey, what channel is the SEC network on Cox? I don't even know what that.
I'm so far removed from having Cox.
Because I know we're getting ready to go to the OEC Fibers. So yeah.
I don't know the big difference between Hulu and YouTube TV, but I just know this, and maybe the cost would be the same or close to the same. I haven't watched a Rangers game since we moved to Western Oklahoma because I just haven't paid for the Bally's app, and I didn't watch other games throughout the season. One thing about YouTube TV, and if Hulu has this, is access to the sub channels for the network stations in Oklahoma City.
Absolutely.
ASPI. If Hulu has that, I would probably switch today because YouTube TV does not. Now, I think they might have Me TV or one of those or something because, like, when there's storm coverage and once it passes through Western Oklahoma, and I don't care anymore.
Well, I do.
Yeah, exactly. But, once it crosses Highway 81 and I don't care anymore, I'd like to be able to watch MASH. And so, oh, gosh. Hey, stat from last night. First loss of the season for Texas after leading,
scoring
the first run. And then Oklahoma, 201 now, and when leading by 4 or more runs during the 4-peat era, I guess.
Isn't that just bonkers? They've won like 232 and 15 in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
It's just nuts.
Here's another one. 33-3 versus Texas over the last 36 matches.
Like that.
They used 5 pitchers last night. I think that was a Women's College World Series new record. And then they're 6-0 in the Women's College World Series. So, or 6-0 versus Texas in the Women's College World Series. So great day to be a Sooner for Sooner softball. Now to get the football and basketball programs on track and get that going also.
Yeah. Well, Oklahoma's dog walking them in softball and we got football this year. I can't even remember. I think, did OU
Women's
do
basketball.
well? Women's
basketball.
basketball.
They beat them.
Porter still hadn't beat them.
No.
He's just not, boy.
Here's another thing. Kudos to Texas, because if you field a team and they wear your university's jersey, you're going to root for them. And Oklahoma fell short, kind of unexpectedly in gymnastics this year. You're not used to that, but Texas wins a lot of national titles. Volleyball, I believe, and a lot of conference titles as well. So that's going to be interesting to see how that transposes to the SEC, because obviously they can compete in those sports at a high level, but you are going to be facing a big conference full of a lot of powers also in those things. And here's the thing about
that Vanderbilt golf team.
Vanderbilt baseball.
Yeah.
About that. And really, Big 12 baseball is a huge disappointment this year. Are there any teams left in super regionals, or they're about to go to Omaha, aren't they?
I think that's it. I think it's a round. OU and Texas are both done. Oklahoma State got beat like in two games in the regional they hosted.
They lost in their regional.
I watched a little bit of that last couple of ball games that the OU men played when they lost to UConn. Mm-hmm. And they just have they had a left-hander, bumming it in there, maybe low 80s, just pouring fastballs down the heart of the plate, and guys aren't taking the bat off the shoulder till they get 2 strikes. Yeah. Drives me nuts.
Exactly. Are you going to check out the new Clippers biopic coming up on FX, where Lawrence Fishburne, in his elevated weight state, plays Doc
Not Rivers. Just Lawrence Fishburne. You got Ed O'Neill, Mr. Al Bundy himself on there.
Who
may have to.
Donald Sterling. Is that? That's who it was? Yeah.
Might have to. I'm an Ed O'Neill fan, so we probably check that out.
I don't know, but man, they picked some really rotund actors to play these Clippers players. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this clip on Twitter, dude, and it shows Fishburne playing Doc Rivers, just cooking these dudes. And
did you see
phraseology? And it says, "No way, Doc Rivers was cooking boys like this."
He may have been. That may have been why he got ran out of town, and guys just kind of quit in 7-game series. Well, they got Doc Rivers, whatever that is on his head, right?
Oh yeah. The sparse.
I don't know what it is. Yeah, just what is that? That come in a can? Is that Rothko?
That's called the
Ronco.
That's called the Come On Home. Oh, man. Speaking of basketball in LA, we got to talk about this. Apparently, the Lakers are in talks, maybe as we speak, but definitely today, with University of Connecticut head coach Dan Hurley, who for some reason would want to throw away his coaching legacy and go coach the Lakers.
I'll tell you why. I still don't think he's going to do it. But college basketball, college sports in general, are such a grind for these coaches. You've got 15 guys on your roster. You're recruiting every second of every single day. You still have to recruit high school. You still have to recruit the portal. It's too much. You got to deal with NIL. You got to deal with building a roster. You go to the NBA, all you do is coach.
But you know what you can do as a college coach to kind of ease some of that issue?
Not get fired because you pissed LeBron off?
Well, that too. But if I'm a college coach at a Power 5 institution. Now, where it's going to suck is for the guys who are at Appalachian State or whatever. But if I'm at a Power 5 football institution, I don't even have to be one of the top teams in that. I'm going to reduce my pay and hire more staff.
Well, do you think Venables and Sark deal with that? No, they got GMs of their football program who deal with NIL stuff.
And just think of the people who are lined up to be graduate assistants at the University of Oklahoma, University of Texas, any of the SEC schools. Just think about how many players want to be GAs and go film other teams on their sideline.
Well, hopefully for Hurley, because I think
you just whiff
losing a guy like that to the NBA is just is going to be tragic. On what?
You got nothing. The GA going and filming on the sidelines.
What was it? Connor
McDavid or no?
Connor Strong,
something like that.
I can't remember his name.
It was Connor
Carr. Yeah, it was Connor Carr. Yeah, in the mustache and mustache and sunglasses on the Central Michigan sideline.
Go on with your point. I apologize.
Losing a guy like Hurley to the NBA would just be tragedy for college basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Because college basketball is the most coach-driven sport that we have left. I couldn't tell you one of the starting five of the UConn Huskies this last year, but I know Dan Hurley was the coach.
Yeah.
And I don't follow college basketball as closely as I probably should.
Yeah.
And especially I'm ranting, I'm sorry, especially to the Lakers. He's going to go to the Lakers, and LeBron has gotten 9. Was it 9 when we counted that up last week?
It was
9 coaches fired. 9 coaches.
The graphics team at the mothership has really displayed that.
And last week they were going to hire JJ Redick.
Yeah.
Which makes more sense to me than Hurley, because it's just going to, LeBron's just going to tell him what he likes to run, and that's what they're going to do.
LeBron on Hurley, April 19th. This is per the mothership via Twitter. He's so damn good, super creative with their O. Okay.
Yeah.
So their O. What are you going to do when Dan Hurley says, we're running?
LeBron go stand in the corner.
Yeah. Hey LeBron, how about don't drive on this one?
Hey LeBron, go left.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
But yeah, I mean, and you hear the national guys say this all the time, who do a lot more. They have a lot bigger research team than you and I could ever fathom. But with
Stallions,
yeah, was it Devin?
Stallions?
Connor Stallions.
Yeah. Thank you, Dan.
John Workman checking in. Thanks, Dan. Dan also likes those old boomer TV networks. Is he talking about Me TV?
Yeah, so we can watch MASH.
John Workman, can you imagine the amount of money they're going to offer Danny Hurley? Oh, it the budget of the UConn Huskies basketball program, but
I'm hoping he's just using this to leverage a raise out of UConn.
Back-to-back natties. If you can't leverage off of that,
But Billy Donovan's been an abject failure in the NBA, and he won back-to-back natties in college.
Who are some college coaches that you can think of that have succeeded in the NBA?
Let's see. The Little Magician didn't. Cal didn't. Little Magician's Patino. He did not succeed.
No.
Donovan, I mean, he got hired to coach a stacked roster, and we know what happened there.
Would you consider Larry Brown a college would he be a college or a pro coach? I mean,
who knows? He coached at like 50 different places. So
yeah, that's what
both. I mean, he
did win a title with Detroit, right?
He won a title with Detroit, but he'd been coaching NBA and college on and off for 100 years at that point.
That's one guy in 50 years.
One guy.
Yeah. So, I mean, generally, the coaches that succeed are the guys that move up the ranks as assistants and get a crack at a real.
Tim Floyd failed. Lon Kruger failed.
Larry Eustace get a shot in the
NBA. God, how fun would that have been?
I mean, the drinking laws would not be in effect, except for the one and done.
Sure. He could go hang out on college campuses when he's recruiting or when he's scouting.
Jermaine O'Neal at 18. Hey, have a natty.
That's right. Natty ice.
Oh, God. Well, I'm going to share this on our Twitter page, Law Dog Sports, but and I'll check it out later. Sometimes I do that just for my own sake. It's not necessarily I want to get it out there, but apparently this says, here's a story DeMar DeRozan just told for the first time that Coach Popovich doesn't want you to hear. And this is via the Spurs reporter on Twitter. So I'll check this out, and it may have to do with some insensitivity towards DeMar's family stuff. But, I saw a deal the other night on Twitter, showed a picture of Kawhi Leonard, and it was on a Spurs page, said, would you take him back? What's to take back? You're talking about a guy who's a shell of his former self. I mean,
Kawhi?
Yeah.
To get 20 games a season out of him and maybe 2 in the playoffs?
Exactly.
Why would anybody pay for that?
Yeah. So anyways, NBA and a lot of stuff going on there. Danny Hurley, the thing about it is is what's Danny Hurley going to do when the GM says, well, we're taking Bronny, right?
Yeah.
know,
Oh, you're going to
I
have to
mean,
develop Bronny. Make him
Bronny
into
would,
an NBA player this season because Bron's only got a year left.
yeah. And how are you going to, how are you going to bring in a player for a professional team that would have gotten no playing time on your college team? I don't care what he got at USC. At UConn, he would not see the floor.
USC was not a good basketball team, and he wasn't playing. He was going to transfer to a small school like Akron or somewhere like that. He wasn't getting a lot of Power 5 bites. So, and he's going to go to the NBA, and you're going to force that, round peg into a square hole, and it's going to be a failure. But hey, it's a cool story. LeBron got to play with his kid. Now is he going to hang around till Bryce is in college? Because Bryce is probably the better player.
Yeah. Here's an interesting deal on Twitter as we just kind of scour. This is it says talk about an insane running back class. I'm going to guess this would be 2014, maybe 2013. Leonard Fournette, Dalvin Cook, Sony Michel, Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, Christian McCaffrey.
That's pretty nuts.
That's pretty crazy. And all of those guys, pretty huge contributors as well. So
McCaffrey just got a big extension.
Yeah.
And he's coming up on his age.
They're saying Bijan Robinson's set to become the next Christian McCaffrey in Atlanta.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. He still plays in Atlanta.
Hot Atlanta.
The thing about Christian McCaffrey is he was great in spurts because he got hurt a lot.
Oh yeah,
that usage rate was high.
He had a lot of underwhelming years in Carolina. Just gonna say,
yeah, they were only underwhelming because he didn't play every single game. He'd go ahead, 200 total yards and then sit for a month and then come back and be really good for a few games and then get hurt again.
Yeah.
He's been great in San Francisco.
Oh yeah,
you talk about a loaded roster there.
Yeah. Brock Purdy's great in San Francisco. Golf going on this weekend, the Memorial Tournament in Muirfield Village, Ohio.
Jack's place.
And it looks like Scotty Scheffler is in second place. If he can avoid run-ins with the law, he could probably win that.
Oh, he probably will.
Texas alum,
yeah, UT Austin. What happens?
University of Texas at Austin. The third best in the UT system.
Behind what? UT San Antonio,
El Paso, and Arlington.
UT Arlington.
San Antonio. So, anyways, isn't next week the Open?
The British? No, it's the U.S. is next week.
Oh, U.S.
Winged Foot, right?
Yes.
Is it a Winged Foot? Okay.
Yeah, let me look at my PGA app. Yes, June 13th through 16th, Pinehurst Resort and Country Club, North Carolina. So
Pinehurst. Okay.
And
something's at Winged Foot this year, where I'm just making things up in my brain.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm not seeing anything on upcoming for Rocket Mortgage Classic is at the Detroit Golf Club.
Oh boy.
Hey, we're golfing in Detroit.
It's gonna make the Waste Management Open look look tame.
I hope so. Maybe Dan Narva could be there and give us some man in the field reporting.
Yes, Brian Fantana.
Pretty soon. Oh gosh. So football is, I think, is it 100 days away yet?
We're in the 90s. We are in the 90s, sir. It's creeping up on us.
Yeah. So, we'll obviously be paying attention to the SEC media days. We'll be ready for Big 12 media days as well, because we want it. I mean, here's the thing, Jeremy, we really have to divide our attention now because of two different conferences. And I don't know how to accept that.
Are we talking about we got to pay attention to the Big 12?
Yeah. And really, Conference USA, the American, I mean.
But Chuck, we've been doing that. We've been training our whole lives for this. Now we just don't have to worry about getting hosed in Stillwater.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Now it'll be hosed in Starkville. No. I just want to know, when are they going to turn over the reins of the football program to Patty Gasso? That's my question.
I texted that to my cousin John Workman last night. Gasso should be brought in as an advisor to Brent Venables, just for roster building and management.
Yeah. She's the GOAT. I mean, I don't know where you can go from that. I mean,
listen, we talk about Saban all the time, his 7 national titles. Patty Gasso has 8. Mike Andrea has 8, and he's got about 300 more wins. So does she hang on until she gets there?
Yeah.
Get her 9th natty and over 300 more wins just to be the undisputed?
I'll say this, and I doubt she cares.
Probably not.
But last night in the post game, Holly Rowe interviewing her, she got 2 grandkids hanging there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have grandkids. I'm dying to have a grandkid. I mean, I would literally give my left hand for a grandkid right now. But it's just one of those things where when it's time, and last night in the post game, I just thought, she may be a little closer than we realize.
Yeah, you say that, and then she hired 3 of the current graduating seniors as grad assistants last night. So
yeah,
maybe I don't know.
Coach in waiting, Riley Boone,
maybe, probably not. Who's the pitching coach? The name's escaping me right
Rocha?
now.
Is it Rocha?
Jen Rocha. Jen Rocha is probably your next next big in next to the big chair there.
Here's the
thing. Shout out to Holly Rowe for doing grandma duty and holding one of the grandkids while she's interviewing Gasso last night.
Kid like nobody's business. Hey, hats off to the kid for not freaking out, which tells me Holly Rowe's probably spent some time in the Gasso household. That kid
would imagine
that kid was way too familiar with her not to freak out on national television. She's just chill. But hey, here's the thing about softball, and I mentioned it earlier. There is so much more attention on softball from young ages up through college, that to do what she's done over the last 11 years, I mean, this is a golden era for softball. No doubt. It is peaked. I mean, it could go bigger, but I mean, for everywhere it's been so far, it's at its highest level of attention. It's at its highest level of involvement. So to keep recruiting and to keep molding and developing players to do what they've done, that's where I kind of get into the GOAT conversation. Everybody else before her, all those UCLA, Arizona, dominant periods, I mean, they had a little segment of the world that was there.
It was a very niche sport.
It was a niche sport, and it was a West Coast sport.
Sure.
The best players, and they still come from California. There's Californians on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
I felt interested last night because the fact that we used to be on the radio in Seymour, Texas, just down the road on 277, the relief pitcher Gutierrez, she was from Stamford, Texas, which was just about an hour south of Seymour. And then their captain, she was from Abilene. So interesting part of the world for Mike White to pick up players who were key contributors on that team. So it's huge. It's everywhere. Girls, I mean, here's the thing, Jeremy. In your schools that don't have, how do I put this? In the schools that don't have necessarily the basketball athletes, the young people who are obviously geared by height or athleticism to lean towards basketball. Not saying that softball players aren't athletic, but in those schools where you maybe don't have a lot of iron sharpening iron on the basketball court, softball really takes off. There are a ton of great softball players just in the area where I'm at in Western Oklahoma, and really throughout this whole region. And it's, that's where they're picking up momentum for the sport. So to me, it's a huge deal to do what they've done, considering how much talent is out there and how much talent can go other places besides Norman.
And do you think of the senior class? That's a group of girls that all they know is winning national titles. They did it every single year they were in college.
Our whole lives,
just bonkers to think of.
all our whole lives, all we hear in sports is there's only one team that will end its season with a win. And, so those girls have experienced that 4 years in a row. And Jeremy might have froze up. So we'll see if he comes back here. But we are the Law Dog Sports Weekend Big Show, and just an amazing week of sports and a lot more to come as the NBA will jump to Game 2, and that will be coming up, I believe, on Sunday, and that will be a 7 o'clock tip-off on Sunday, June 9th. Jeremy's back, and we've got some buffering issues. I probably ought to shut down.
So was that you talking about the NBA Finals?
Yeah, just kind of teasing Game 2, something we'll have to talk. We'll have a good chunk of that series to talk about next week.
Absolutely.
And hey, if Boston goes out and handles business at Game 2, Dallas has got issues, but I don't see Kyrie having that bad a game again. And then, like I said, if you open things up and you put pressure on the Boston bigs with that athletic big man game, and what did PJ Washington have last night?
He had 14 points.
What did he shoot from 3?
I've got the box score right here. 0 for 3.
There you go.
That rat bat. Oh my God. Couldn't miss against my team, but yeah.
Yeah, he just
donut against the Celtics.
He just in the Oklahoma City and Minnesota series, he's just out of his mind.
Right.
So, anyways, interesting take on that. But Game 2, like I said, today's Overreaction Friday. Every talking head will be on there just carrying on about the Celtics being the next dynasty and all this. And that's just how that goes.
Yep, that's it. It's a hyperbolic chamber.
Yeah. And it sustains itself. And
it's crazy. I miss the old days when it was a prove it thing. Yeah, they're good, but let's see where they are in 3 years.
Oh yeah,
I miss that.
And the thing is you have to be, the Brian Windhorst of the world have to be the first to say, "Oh, I called it a dynasty."
Oh yeah, it's like every team that wins a game was a potential dynasty, so we have something to look back on.
Exactly. Well, I tell you, it's going to be interesting, but we will see more. Hey, on the social media, we had a post a while back, and if anybody's watching and wants to, we said I would try to go daily. Let's see, Max Patton. That's the best he's ever sounded. I don't remember what that was in relation.
I think it's when we lost audio there for a minute.
Wow. Shots fired. Dang. So anyways, we may be looking at expanding depending on scheduling and things like that, but I'll try to, back in the old days, we did the Monday, Wednesday, Friday thing. We could look at Tuesdays or Mondays and Fridays, something like that. But we do realize there's a lot of sports that we kind of whiff on throughout the week, just doing a one-day-a-week show. So the object is to grow it. We just got to have the right timing and the right motivation, so to speak. So, Jeremy, have a great weekend. I appreciate you jumping on again, and we'll see what we can drum up next week.
Sure. Yep. Have a good one.
All right. He's Jeremy Schroeder, ruler of the airways. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog. This is the Law Dog Sports Podcast, the Weekend Big Show. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Law Dog Sports. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Law Dog Sports. We'll talk to you next week.